Now, we often call XRP the standard, and if you guys have been seeing my most recent updates on the DeFi and the XRP ledger ecosystem just exploding, then you know that we've been setting the standard in a couple different areas. First off, for being one of the most efficient ledgers for payments. Now we're starting to get the additional utilities at the protocol level versus the layer 2 smart contract path like Ethereum layer 2s like Uniswap that just got served with the Wells notice and is about to be sued by the SEC. We have DeFi building out here, and it's going to be institutional DeFi, setting a standard in that regard. But in this video, I wanted to talk about how Ripple, I believe, is setting a stablecoin standard. Along with Circle and USDC, it seems that they have been chosen, along with Ripple, now setting the blueprint template for stablecoins on the XRP ledger. But then it appears that they've also been helping the folks in DC kind of craft this legislation that is now coming about here. So without further ado, folks, I want to get right on into this update. We got to get an update going on our financial markets, and then we're going to go into the cryptocurrency update. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Let's roll. Starting off with this one from Bar Chart, the Federal Reserve may not cut interest rates until March 2025, cautions Bank of America. Now, this is what we've been saying, right? Is that the Fed is not going to cut until the system actually breaks. And with their manipulated data, the manipulated data is actually still painting a rosy picture, right? Job numbers still going up because people are getting a second and a third time job. So the job numbers have remained strong, despite the fact I'm about to show you here in the next one. We have already lost 300,000 jobs so far this year, 100,000 in January, and then we've done 70,000 as an average for the last 3 months. And so we've already hit 300,000 job losses this year, but it's not bad enough. Remember, they don't want to actually get into the details on the data. They just manipulate it out so that they can spit you out a number that we have a low unemployment rate, that we have a low jobless numbers. When you actually look into it, we have 300,000 job losses this year, and most of the jobs that are being added, most aren't even going to, U.S. born workers. But then also you have to look at, this is a second and a third job for those folks as well. So we're losing good paying jobs, and folks are having to go to second and third time just to make it work. Moving on over to the Bitcoin chart, you can see the trajectory that we've been on since April 8th. A date that we did point out, that was the solar eclipse. And it's been nothing but down into the halving here, which is set to come in here most likely on the 19th or the 20th. So we'll be watching that one. This pullback was expected for us. We've been waiting for this one. And if you look at the S&P 500, it's back down. Most of these all set double top formations and have continued to break through the neckline as well. NASDAQ 100, same thing. It's been down for all of the stocks, while the DXY index has actually gone back up. A little bit of strength here in the dollar because folks are realizing, as we've been saying for a while now, a lot of people have been hoping and praying and begging for the Fed to cut rates, and we've just been pointing out that inflation's still running hot. They didn't do enough to fight inflation, and there was just so much money printing that's still sloshing around, right? There's just still so much money in the system. And it's funny, they manipulate the data, and it's a double-edged sword for them because they want to be able to tout strong job numbers, but in actuality, the economy's falling apart. It's a silent recession. And if you actually look at the details, it's terrible. Now, in a video yesterday, I highlighted how Turkey's central bank has lost, I think 50 billion is what it was. And actually, at the time I reported that that's actually small compared to some of these other losses. And sure enough, look at this one, folks. The Federal Reserve posted its biggest loss in history of 114 billion last year. So you want to talk about taking an L, right? We might be losing jobs. We might be, struggling out here, but there's a serious problem taking place at the central banks around the world. You look at our commercial banks, they have over 600 billion of unrealized losses on their balance sheets as well. It's getting ugly out there. And what does this take us to next? The U.S. may freeze bank withdrawals as currency fears rises, experts warn. Now, you guys saw, I played the clip, and I showed you guys the video of the person at RBC up in Canada just last week, who was trying to pull $3,000 out to go buy a car, and the bank teller wouldn't give it to him. Wouldn't give him $3,000. Now, if you can't get $3,000 out of your bank, we got a problem, right? And this isn't just happening up in Canada. This isn't just happening in other places. Now we have an expert in economics is warning that the Biden administration may be looking at ways to lock down your checking account, literally banning withdrawals from the banking system. I'm not going to get into it further than that. All I'm just going to say is because I have people ask me all the time, because they're worried about CBDC, they're worried about this new system, they're worried about the control, they're worried about not being able to pull it out of the bank. Is crypto going to be able to get us around this? The only things that I do, if I want to get out of the system, if I want to not be worried about it, folks, there's only a couple things that I do. I'm stacking this metal, I'm stacking freedom seeds, I'm stacking the essentials, I'm stacking cash outside the system, which can it be, easier said than done, apparently, because now they're, being a little bit tighter with how you can pull it out. I'm not trying to, cause panic or fear. My whole thesis has been, if I want the ability to transact that outside of that system, I have to be offline. DLT technology, blockchain technology, privacy coins. I don't do privacy coins. I think you're actually going to see, we're going to be talking about this stablecoin bill. They're coming to crack down on those hard too. And so if you want to truly be outside of the system, it's about having relationships with people in your community that you're going to be transacting with. For instance, let's just throw out a crazy example, right? We're no longer allowed to have red beef, red meat. We get in some sort of deal like that. I'm taking this. I'm taking freedom seeds. I'm taking real value to my farmer. I'm going to know my farmer. I'm going to know what he wants to get paid in. Does he want to get paid in silver, gold? Does he want to get paid in freedom seeds? Do I need to go exchange some labor? What do I got to do to transact outside of the system? Because I'm not expecting to be able to do that with cryptocurrency. I'm not doing the privacy coin deals. And for me, the thing that we've been mentioning about the banks is that you just can't keep over 250,000 over that FDIC limit in any one account. So if that's a problem for you, right, if you have that much money in the bank, you got to spread it out. You got to diversify, and you got to watch out because these systemically important banks are going to be saved. Meanwhile, we are going to see more sacrifices of small regional banks coming up. This banking crisis is not over. Now, I found this comment very interesting from David Schwartz, and I'm going to show you this one. This guy says, even if Craig Wright, this is Craig Wright, the one that says he's Satoshi, that just lost his big case, right? This guy's saying basically that he's still most likely to be Satoshi. Now, David Schwartz comes in, and he says this is complete nonsense. Craig had strong incentive to prove he was Satoshi and failed to do so. Many others have had no such incentive. I'm more likely to be Satoshi than Craig is. Now, oh boy, if that ain't a statement from David Schwartz, I don't know what is, folks. You guys let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that David is Satoshi? And do you think that David at least knows who Satoshi is? Because I believe 100% that he knows who Satoshi is, or in and around where Satoshi comes from. Some sort of government agency, NSA job side, subcontract deal, right? Who got the government contract that probably got paid a boatload of money to make it, right? from our U.S. government or from some other government entity, right? My mentor, Dan Pena, he says it's a conspiracy from the Ruskies, and we'll see about that. But nonetheless, we are seeing here, you guys let me know what you think about David Schwartz. Speaking of Russia, though, Bank of Russia has announced it will support accelerating the adoption of cryptocurrency payments for international settlements. So I was talking with somebody last night, and we were talking about gold and silver, revaluation, reset, and all this stuff. And I just said, very simply, I continue to stack the assets that I know are going to back the new system: gold, silver, XRP, commodities with real utility that have scarcity is preferable, right? And that's what we've been doing. As far as what's gold and silver going to be revalued at, which blockchain technology are they going to use, XRP appears to be in the front lead from what I can see. And does it mean that they're all going to accept it? No, but it means that they need a solution that's similar. And the point being is that this accelerates the ditching of the US dollar, not only for holding it as a reserve, holding our bonds. They've been dumping the heck out of our bonds, actually. And we just had a terrible treasury auction yesterday. Terrible. One of the worst treasury auctions that we've had since last year. I mean, it's just been terrible since the banking crisis of May last year. It was just a terrible treasury auction. Nobody wants our crap, which is kind of what I've been saying since 2022 when they said that the Fed was going to start quantitative tightening. I said, who wants to buy this crap from the Fed? Who wants to take on that balance sheet? Nobody. But anyways, that's the reserve part of a reserve currency, is holding it as a reserve, bonds, and what have you. The other part of it is the transaction. And you're seeing that the DLT technology has already presented itself. What's the solution going to be? Maybe not XRP, maybe could be XRP, but nonetheless, the solution is there for them to get outside of the US dollar. And that's what every single American needs to understand. Now, what we see here in this next data point, very, very interesting. We know, we've highlighted this, how Tether is under scrutiny here once again for funding, facilitating flows to Russia, right? Now, we also have a lot of activity taking place in Iran, and there's a new, talks of sanctions coming down on Iran with the most recent activities going on with that situation. And so with all of that, then yesterday we get the introduction from Gillibrand, I guess, and Loomis of the stablecoin bill. And then shortly thereafter, this is what comes out from Binance. Binance decides today all of their SAFU assets will be converted to USDC, bolstering reliability and stability at 1 billion. So they sold off Bitcoin, they sold off Tether, and they've moved it all to USDC and Binance too, BNB. So now, now they're all backing it up here by USDC, which is very interesting. Now you have a combination of Tether sanctions coming in, most likely. They might get in trouble for Russia activity, for Iran activity. But then you also saw that yesterday we got the announcement from Gillibrand and Loomis of the Payment Stablecoin Act. Passing a regulatory framework for stablecoins is critical to protecting consumers, promoting responsible innovation, and cracking down on money laundering and illicit finance. So it all just happens to coincide yesterday, right? Where Binance does this odd move, right? But it does seem to be fitting when you look at this situation as it's been developing. We've been warning about Tether, where are the reserves at? Can we have somebody audit Tether besides some shady firm out of the Cayman Islands? That'd be nice. But nonetheless, that was just one of our concerns for Tether. The other has been the facilitating of flows to activities that aren't favorable to the U.S. government and about to be sanctioned. And that appears to be the case as well. But the reason why I titled this video, the Ripple Stablecoin Standard, is because we have Ripple set to issue a stablecoin here on the XRP ledger and on Ethereum as well. And we have Binance moving to USDC. It appears to me that Circle has been chosen to get the go-ahead. And I also believe that Ripple has been a big part of this as well. We know they're part of the Digital Dollar Project. We know they're part of the Digital Pound Foundation, the Digital Euro. And what this does, folks, is it actually makes sure that we get a continuation of the use of these US dollars, these British pounds, and the euro, is because now you're getting folks to use it in digital form through these different stable coins. They're all derivatives of the same currency. And this is what they need if they want to, have people still using this. Otherwise, you just move to, settling in other currencies, settling in cryptocurrency, settling in XRP, settling in Bitcoin. That might not work too well for you, but you get my point. If you want to continue having adoption and usage of your dollar, you have to put it out here in digital form. And the best way to do that is not necessarily pick winners and losers, but just say, hey, here's how to do it. And you allow all these other parties to create derivatives of the US dollar for you in digital form. That's what I see happening here, coming full circle right now with this. And to reiterate my point here, you have Stuart Alderati, the chief legal officer of Ripple, retweeting out Gillibrand, shouting out Senator Loomis, and say that they continue to advance crypto policy with their draft stablecoin bill. There is much left to be done, but great to also see others in Congress now engaging positively with crypto regulation. Innovation is not and should never be partisan. And I agree with Stuart, right? The crypto deal, it shouldn't be political at all. This is about giving people access to a new financial system. And it appears to me that Circle has been chosen. It doesn't mean that USDC is the digital dollar. It just means it's one of the digital dollars. It's one of the derivatives of the digital dollar now. Same thing here with Ripple stablecoin. And I believe that they want to encourage these private actors to do this because it just brings more adoption to the US dollar. For example, getting people outside of the United States access to dollars. I mean, just go look at what George Gaiman just reported. He went through Argentina trying to use Bitcoin. I think it was Argentina. It was some country in South America. He was trying to use Bitcoin. He was trying to go do the deal, use the Lightning wallets, use this and that. And it was a complete and utter failure, and nobody wanted Bitcoin. What did they all want? US dollars, cash, right? And so what this does with all of these stable coins is going to help continue that process of keeping the US dollar at its reserve currency status. You have to bring it in a digital form, and you have to get people to still want to use it. And for the time being, what the Federal Reserve is doing, yes, they've lost $100 billion last year. That was terrible. But in raising rates at the fastest pace in history, what they did is they rug pulled Main Street U.S. economy. They don't really care about sacrificing us because they're inflicting so much more pain on all these other currencies. Look at the Japanese yen, for example. So this is what's bolstering the strength of the U.S. dollar. You've seen the DXY go back up and then continuing out, years to come. This is the only way that I believe that you keep this standard, is that you keep it as at least the cleanest shirt in the closet. You don't got to back it by gold. You got to do any of that. It's just a matter of making everybody else's dollar look way worse. And that's what the Fed has done by raising the rates. And if they keep them higher for longer too, it's only going to continue with that trajectory. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm going to say it again. What Ripple is doing with this stablecoin is the blueprint template for anybody else that wants to issue a stablecoin on the XRP ledger, which is also very important. We need more issued assets, more currencies, more legitimate issuers on the XRP ledger, and I believe that this will do this, where they'll be able to go around to all their central bank partners, all their other institutional partners, and say, hey, if you want to do a stablecoin that's a representation of your sovereign currency, here's the blueprint template. If you want to do a currency that's backed by gold, we can do that for you as well. If you need somebody to custody the gold, well, now we have standard custody and trust along with Medico. So we have a trust company to hold your assets, not lend out against deposits like a traditional bank. That's the key difference between a trust company and a bank. And then we also have Medico platform to harmonize your custody solution as well. So it's all starting to come here full circle. And who's in the mix, right? Who's in the clear? Who's retweeting out these senators and congressmen? That would be Ripple. That'd be, Stuart Alderati, huge shout out. And I think that we've also seen that Circle's done a great job of being in compliance, working with the regulators, and they're going to be chosen as well. Nonetheless, folks, we're going to continue to watch this one, the market trajectory downward as we go into the halving. Watch out, because we've seen historically the last couple of halvings, we've actually had a sell-off leading up into them and after. And I believe that we're going to see the same thing here. I just shared an update with my Discord and Patreon group yesterday, quick market update explaining where we're at and kind of what I see coming. And the main thing that I'm doing right now is I'm just stacking cash right now to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be coming our way. I think this is potentially going to be some of the last final moments in the coming months here to buy these assets this low. We have real estate's a lagging asset class, but the deals are starting to come through there. Private equity's been squeezed out. Deals are popping up there, but you got to be careful, very risky. And then for cryptocurrency, I bought more XRP yesterday. Full disclosure, bought more XRP yesterday at 49 cents. Had to take advantage of it. And if you guys are wanting to pick up more cryptocurrencies and stuff, I just highly would consider making sure that you're loaded up with buy orders ready to go so that your orders can go through when we get any sort of more flash crashes, right? These flash crashes, black swan events, it's going to come and go very quickly for crypto. This thing moves so quickly. So don't expect that we're going to go bottom out and we're going to sit down there and allow you to accumulate at these low prices forever. It's going to come and go super quick. And in crypto, you guys know we can get 15-minute wicks down 10, 15, 20% and then back up. So the only way to be prepared for that is to have your cash loaded up on the exchanges and then execute your trades. Now, at my website, zachrector.com, I have a link for a couple different exchanges that I use. If you guys want to take a look at that, we also have the links for wallets as well as precious metals. If you're looking to get the metals delivered directly to your door, or you want to roll over a 401k retirement account, we can facilitate both of those. So get liquid, stay ready, and let's ride out this storm, folks. 2024 is going to continue to be a choppy one. I appreciate all of you guys. If you appreciate what we do, you know how to help me. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.